Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey, and today we're taking a look at the Dallas Cowboys team needs before free agency and the offseason even get underway. At number one, this might be a bit of a surprise, but really shouldn't be. That's the quarterback position. Reminder, we are taking a look as things sit right now. As of right now, Dak Prescott is not under contract. He is a free agent. It's the most important position. It's the most important free agent. Quarterback is the top need for the Cowboys. Of course, once they franchise tag or extend Dak Prescott, this need plummets way down the list. We are factoring in current free agents. Cooper Rush, by the way, also a restricted free agent, so you'll probably bring him back on a very cheap contract. As for Dak Prescott, his contract will not be cheap. Put up great numbers this year for the Dallas Cowboys. Many of you say, oh yeah, but Dak put up bad numbers against good teams, or put up good numbers against bad teams. Yes, that's what good quarterbacks do. Yes, he should have played better against the better opponents. He still had his best year ever, especially from a statistical season. So what should Dallas do with Dak? Type T for tag, P for pay. As a reminder, I am open to any and all ideas that do not involve paying Dak Prescott. I just haven't come across any of them that actually make sense. And if you didn't catch our video yesterday, you should probably go watch it on the channel. I break down why it's going to be expensive if you don't pay Dak sooner than later. It's only going to go up the longer that you wait. Number two, in a similar vein here, that is the wide receiver spot. You look at the talent, you go, oh, receiver's not a need. You have Amari Cooper, you have Gallup, you have Cobb. Heck, Tavon Austin isn't that bad as a number 4 option. Except 3 of the names that I just mentioned up there are all 2020 free agents. Cooper is a free agent, could be tagged or transition tagged. Randall Cobb is a free agent. Tavon Austin, also a free agent. Both of those guys have connections to the new coaching staff in place. But if you lose one of Cooper or Cobb, this is still going to be an expense or a need for the Dallas Cowboys. Both of them played very well. Yes, there were drop issues. Now, Cobb does not turn 30 until August. I do want to stay healthy, though, if you do bring him back. He is certainly going to be far cheaper than Amari Cooper. But you give a first-round pick for Amari Cooper, I'd bring him back. I would still draft somebody even if you bring back Cooper and Cobb later on. If you don't bring back Cobb, maybe it's a round 3, round 4 pick to get a slot receiver in there. But receiver is an area the Cowboys are going to have to investigate. And of the offensive needs, this might be the most likely route they go beyond one that we'll get to in a little bit early on in the draft or with big money in free agency. So what's the Cowboys' biggest need? Of course, we began with quarterback and wide receiver because of the free agents involved there. But if you don't want to go that route, that's fine too. I'm sure several of the defensive pieces have some big needs as well. So let me know in the comment section. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you might get an ad break here, but scroll on down to the pinned comment. That's where I've gotten this question. All right, moving on now to number 3. That is edge rusher. You have DeMarcus Lawrence, and despite the down sack numbers, he actually played very well for the Dallas Cowboys, and he'll bounce back next year. Robert Quinn had himself one hell of a season for the Dallas Cowboys. That was awesome, except he is a free agent. Tyrone Crawford could very well be cut. You could give a lot of money and or just simply redo his deal. Then your other top depth options, Kerry Hyder, Michael Bennett, much like Crawford has some flex, they are both going to be free agents. All of a sudden, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're in an awkward situation where you might have to figure out what path you're going to do because free agency is going to be expensive for Robert Quinn. Now, yes, he is older, and that will drive down his price tag, but he's coming off an 11.5 sack season. Someone is going to throw money at him, and if you lose Quinn, your options are Lawrence Armstrong, Joe Jackson. It's really not all that sexy of an outlook for the Dallas Cowboys. So if you don't bring back Quinn, which you can afford to do so, you're really thin at the cornerback position. By the way, 3 and 4, very close. You can really work these as interchangeable. Before we get to number 4, I want to tell you guys about a deal. Cowboys jersey still on sale right now. Chatsports.com/Cowboys jersey. That is, again, chatsports.com/Cowboys jersey. They've got Zeke. They've got Dak. They've got Amari. All kinds of jerseys on sale. 25% off. That's under $75 for a lot of them. Chatsports.com/Cowboys jersey. Check the description. Check the comments. I've got it in there for you guys. All right, as promised, number 4, that is cornerback. And once we get through the initial rush of free agency, And once the Cowboys, make their moves with Cooper and Dak, cornerback's going to move up. Byron Jones, Anthony Brown, C.J. Goodwin are all free agents. Chidobe Awuzie regressed. I love Jordan Lewis in the nickel. But because Byron's going to get the bag this offseason in free agency, you're kind of in a tight position, especially if you lose Anthony Brown too. And Burton, Alumba, Westry White, those guys really haven't proven anything there. And there is a very real possibility the Cowboys could lose Byron Jones simply because he might become more expensive than what the Cowboys are willing to pay. And that's probably going to be in the $14 to $15 to $16 million range per year. That's the going rate for shutdown number one corners. Yes, Byron does not make plays on the football. Doesn't allow plays to be made on him either. That's not the worst combo in the world. One note I will make here when it comes to cornerbacks. Josh Norman, Tremaine Johnson, Xavier Rhodes. Those three players in their current teams all trending towards divorces. Keep that in mind for the Cowboys. There are some good free agents, but Byron is the best one out there this year. If you don't bring him back, you need to find the new number one corner. That's much easier said than done. All right, number 5 is defensive tackle. For those of you who have watched the show for a long time, you know how I feel about defensive tackle. The Cowboys have ignored it too often, especially at the nose tackle position. And this offseason, they are due for possible major change. We mentioned Tyrone Crawford could be cut to save about $8 million, or they just restructure his deal. Michael Bennett might not be back. Malik Collins is a 3 technique, bad against the run. Good pass rusher, but I don't know if he's going to be back. Antoine Wood is a restricted free agent. Tristan Hill did nothing. Christian Covington, okay, that's a decent enough depth piece there. Maybe he comes back if the Cowboys make a move over to a 3-4 scheme, or at least run some more two-gap, which is more typical in a 3-4 scheme on the defensive line. Speaking of that, which scheme should Dallas run? Type 34 if you want to run a 3-4 scheme. 43 if you want to run that 4-3 scheme. I don't know which route yet the Cowboys are going to take. We might not know for a little bit. Maybe you see more of a multiple defense for the Dallas Cowboys, but regardless, you've got to find defensive tackle help with so many free agents. You need a true big boy up in the middle to stop the run. The Cowboys have missed that for years. Hopefully that changes this year in the offseason, free agency, and the draft. Number 6 is safety, and much like receiver, DT, and others, this will probably move up as the offseason goes on. And it's really kind of the end point between a pretty big difference in the needs. Safety's a big one. You have Xavier Woods, who played free safety, but I am now down to move to strong safety. Was, I thought, very good for the first 8 games or so, and then kind of tilted off for the back half of the year, excluding some injuries there. He can play anywhere, though. And that's my mindset. Jeff Heath, Kevon Frazier, Darian Thompson, they are all free agents. Donovan Wilson is a backup safety right now. I don't think the Cowboys are going to turn to him. They waived Josh Jones late in the year. You need a safety. And maybe this is finally the year the Dallas Cowboys invest in one early in the NFL draft. There will be several players who fit in that mold for the Cowboys, but we'll wait and see what moves they make in the offseason. Number 7 is next up here. That is the tight end position, where you're going to have to make some decisions on who are your pieces long term. Of course, they brought back Jason Witten, and that kind of put a Band-Aid over the gunshot wound that was the tight end position the past few years for the Dallas Cowboys. It was a stopgap option. Didn't really fix the problem, though, and Witten at that point kind of became a progress blocker. Remember when the Cowboys said he was only going to get 25 snaps per game? Yeah, never happened. He's a free agent. Blake Jarwin is a restricted free agent. Dalton Schultz, well, looks more like a tight end 3 than anything else for the Dallas Cowboys. So is Blake Jarwin the future at tight end? If you think he is type Y for yes, that means you're probably fine at tight end. Maybe draft somebody mid-late rounds. Maybe add a veteran to help block out a little bit, or just bring back Whit and make him a full-time backup. If he's not, they don't really have much at the position. I am down to give Jarwin a chance, and with the way the needs kind of break out this year, I would probably roll with Jarwin, maybe a veteran, see how he plays as a full-time starter. If it doesn't work out, take a look to the 2021 draft. Maybe spend a premium pick on tight end in that offseason. Number 8 is the linebacker position. It is not a major need, although there is a big-time question mark. No, it's not Jalen Smith. He should be healthy and should continue to bounce back from last year. It's Leighton Vander Esch coming off of that neck injury. We're unclear just how severe that neck is. The Cowboys seem to think it's fine, but it's worth monitoring. And the reality for the Cowboys here is they're just going to have to assume Leighton Vander Esch is good to go. They've got so many other needs and areas to address. You have to bank on Jalen Smith, bank on Leighton Vander Esch being your guys. Now, maybe you spend a higher pick if you move Jalen to outside linebacker in a 3-4 scheme as a pass rusher. We'll see if that's the route they go. Then it's about finding depth because you have Jalen, Leighton Vander Esch, and Luke Gifford, Chris Covington under contract next year. Bring back Sean Lee, bring back a Joe Thomas and or a Malcolm Smith, and you're in much better shape. Watch out for a late-round pick or several UDFAs to compete for one, maybe 2 spots, especially on special teams. Now, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code you see on your screen. That is Cowboys120. It gets you a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, boom. They're going to give you $60 for free. All right, number 9. We'll move quickly on these next 2 here because they're kind of similar. That's offensive guard. You have, of course, Connor Williams. You have Connor McGovern. Xavier Su'a-Filo is a free agent, though. Joe Looney is a free agent, though. Adam Redmond is a restricted free agent. All of a sudden, on the interior of the offensive line, your top 4 guys are pretty much set in stone. Who's going to be your 5th guy? Can you bring back one or multiple of Joe Looney, Su'a-Filo, Redmond? If not, what route do you go? That's an interesting area of discussion there for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll jump ahead here to number 10 as well, which is offensive tackle. Because it's all offensive line, so we group them together. Nice and easy here. Tyron Smith, La'el Collins, those are your guys. I'll make this note here, just in general on the offensive line. You can't keep throwing picks and money at this area. You've done it for several years now. You've invested so much. You have to roll with the guys you got. And Tyron is not the best offensive tackle in the NFL anymore. He's not. But he's still really good, and he's making just barely $13.5 million per year. There's really not much of a reason to move on for him. Keep an eye out, though, for Cam Fleming, the swing tackle. Club option of $5.25 million can save all but like $1 million of that. Maybe he's on his way out down the road because Brandon Knight didn't press as an undrafted free agent. All right, more depth needs here. That is number 11, the running back position. You're in great shape with your top 2. Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. Zeke got going later on in the year, was kind of back to his old self. Tony Pollard really flashed as well at a variety of times. You have Jordan Sean on the roster. Maybe you figure out the fullback deal. Jamizo Lawali is under a team option for next year. We'll see what happens there with head coach Mike McCarthy and a at least modified offensive scheme. Mike Weber joined the Chiefs, by the way. That kind of went under the radar, but Mike Weber is not on your roster. Maybe you did the same thing you did with Mike Weber and Bo Scarborough. Take a 7th-round flyer, add a undrafted free agent, see if he can make the roster for you. Finally, and I'm just going to group this one in its own little special category, that's special teams. You best believe it's a need. It's also kicker, punter, long snapper, and, well, if you're doing it right, you're not spending big on those positions in most cases. Justin Tucker being an example there. Kai Forbath is a free agent. I say bring him back, but don't guarantee him anything. We learned our lesson from Brett Maher, right? Don't assume you have something in a kicker who nobody wanted beforehand. So for Forbath, bring him back, allow him to compete for a role maybe with an undrafted free agent kicker. LP, a free agent, he is aging, but as long as he wants to play, he can keep playing. He does not make mistakes. And finally, the one where you might have some real change is Chris Jones. He is due $2.4 million in 2020. He has regressed as a punter. Now maybe a new special teams coach gets the most out of him, but you save $1.4 million by cutting him. Kind of thing I can get Chris Jones production, maybe not Chris Jones hits, but Chris Jones production for that price tag. So what should Dallas do with Chris Jones? Type K for keep, C for cut. I think it's a no-brainer. You cut him and sign an undrafted free agent punter or a cheap veteran. Let them compete for the role, because if you're doing it right, you're really not throwing money in picks at the special teams position. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.